Now, here are some terminologies that you should be aware of. The nominal interest rate is the contracted or quoted interest rate. It is also called the annual percentage rate, which is the periodic rate times the number of periods. So, if you go to a bank, they are going to tell you the nominal interest rate. The nominal interest rate is based upon interest being paid only once a year, but like already discussed, in reality, interest can be paid many times in a year. In order to cater to that, we have the effective annual interest rate, which is EFF%. The actual rate of interest earned paid after adjusting the nominal rate for the number of compounding periods per year. It is also called the equivalent annual rate, EAR. So basically, your effective annual rate is the real rate that you will earn if you go to a bank and they are, let's say, paying you 10% interest with semi-annual compounding, then you are not getting an interest rate of 10%. 10% is the APR, it is the quoted rate, but because there is semi-annual compounding, you will be getting more than 10% for sure. The formula to calculate the effective annual rate is not that clear over here, so let me just write it for you. Formula for this is bracket R over M and then M minus 1, and so there should be one more bracket over here. This is the formula for calculating the effective annual rate from the annual percentage rate. So now, in order to understand this even more, that why are both of the rates different, we're going to go through an example. So the effective concept of effective annual rate, the annual percentage rate over here is 10%. That means that interest, if it is paid only once a year, you will get an interest of 10%. The compound intervals over here are 2, which means in reality the interest is being paid 2 times a year. The deposited amount is 100. So assuming that the compounding intervals is not half yearly and you're getting interest only once a year, that would mean that if you deposit 100 now, 1 year later you will have 110 because of the 10% interest. During the year you got the interest of 10 and your final balance 1 year later is 110. Now, the concept of effective annual rate says that because the interest is being paid twice a year, the APR is not telling you the correct interest rate. In reality, you are going to be earning more. So, if we divide this by 2, we get 5%. So 10% is the interest for the whole year, but for the 6 months you will get an interest of 5%, and for the next 6 months you will get an interest of 5%. Let me just erase this. So that means if you deposit 100 now, because it is semi-annual, after the first 6 months you will get the first interest payment, which is going to be 5%. So you will get 6 months later and your account will have 105 rupees. Now because all of our calculations are based on compound interest, because 6 months later your account has a balance of 105, you will get interest on this 105 now. So the next time interest is going to be 5.25, a rate of 5% applied once again. Now your account is going to have a balance of 110.25. So if interest is being paid only once a year, you get an amount of 110, but if interest is being paid 2 times in 1 year, you get an amount of 110.25. So you get 0.25 extra because of the 5 you are getting earlier. 6 months पहले ही आपको ये 5 रुपीज़ मिल रहे हैं, तो 6 months बाद ही इसके ऊपर इंटरेस्ट अर्न होना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. So you're getting interest on interest over here. So you can see that the effective rate is not actually 10%. The effective annual rate is going to be more than the annual percentage rate. Now moving ahead to the next example. So you can do the same thing for, let's say, quarterly. Now in quarterly, that would mean that your interest rate will get divided by 4. So after every 3 months you will get an interest of 2.5%. 2.5% paid 4 times will add up to 10%. The deposited amount is again 100. So you deposit 100, you get an interest of 2.5. 3 months later your account has 102.5. 3 months later, now you will get interest on this 102.5. so you get an interest of 2.56. Now your account is 105.06. again you will get interest on this 105.06, and so on. This will keep on happening. Now your balance is 110.38. so if you get interest once a year, your account will have 110 rupees. If you get interest twice a year, same interest rate, but only the compounding periods are more, you get an interest of 110.25. and if it's quarterly, you get an interest of 110.38. Similarly, you can actually calculate them for each of these compounding intervals, and you will see that the effective annual rate is going to increase as the compounding periods increase, because the more the compounding periods, the more there will be interest on interest, as you are getting your interest payments sooner. Now if you note over here, your APR and effective annual rate are equal only when the compounding period is 1, which means interest is being paid once a year. If the interest is being paid more than once a year, then automatically your effective annual rate is going to be higher than your annual percentage rate. Now let's look at an example. So Basket Wonders has a 1000 CD at the bank. The interest rate is 6% compounded quarterly for 1 year. What is the effective annual rate? So they're asking you to calculate the effective annual rate. This is a formula for that. 6% was your APR, 4 is your M. So you have 4 over here and 4 over here. Simply you can calculate this and you get an effective annual rate of 6.14%. So the annual rate is 6%, but because it is compounded quarterly, the actual rate that you will earn on this will be 6.14%. Another practice question is that if 12% is compounded monthly, what annual compounded interest rate will get a depositor the same interest? So 12% compounded monthly, you can use the effective annual rate formula to make this calculation. So let's go back. This was the formula. You can actually use that formula with M. So I'm not going to use a solution that they have told us. Instead of that, I'm going to use this. So 1 plus, this is 12%, so 0.12. And then we have that, and M of 12. And we have an M of 12 over here as well. Yeah. Okay, wait. Yes, so we're going to solve this. %12.68%. So 12.68% would give you the same interest. Given a monthly rate of 1%, what is the effective annual rate and what is the annual percentage rate? So your annual percentage rate is simply your monthly rate multiplied by 12, the number of compounding periods, whereas your effective annual rate has a formula. We're going to apply that formula. You get an answer of 12.68%. We will discuss this in more detail in our class. Thank you.